So the very first time that I saw downtown Wilmington, I was driving over that bridge with all of my belongings in a U-Haul truck, and I had never been to this city before, ever. Never even set foot here. I did all my research online, watching videos to get an idea of what this town was like. My name is Caleb. I'm a real estate agent here, and I've lived here for 6 years. I moved here in 2019, and I want to make some videos to help you get an idea of what Wilmington is like. Today, we're going to talk about downtown and the general downtown area. We're going to talk about history. We're going to talk about places to eat, places to shop. We're going to talk about what it's like to live here and all the attractions that I love as a local here in downtown. So stay tuned and let's check
it out.
Check it out. Yeah. So honestly, my first thought when I came over the bridge, when I saw Wilmington was, is that it? That's it? I was expecting a bigger city, to be honest, because I was moving from Nashville. I was moving from a big city here. While my expectations were high, I have grown to love this quaint, charming downtown. If you're evaluating Wilmington, you want to get a vibe, it's very similar to Savannah, Georgia. In fact, our Chamber of Commerce actually sends a delegation of people to Savannah every year, and they send people to Wilmington to learn about each other because their populations and demographics are so similar. So I'm standing here on the Riverwalk, which is really the premier attraction here in downtown. As you can see behind me, it goes the whole length of north to south downtown, and we're right here on the Cape Fear River. The Riverwalk is really considered Wilmington's front porch. This is kind of the first thing that you see coming over the bridge. Also, this is the best place to catch a sunset here. And there are multiple restaurants like these behind me that offer an incredible sunset view if you can reserve a table at the right time. And other little fun fact about the Riverwalk, if you watch the show One Tree Hill, which was filmed exclusively here in Wilmington, there's a bench where Nathan and Haley have a little moment right up there. I'll let you find that one on your own. So Wilmington was founded, I think, late 1700s. It's one of our country's oldest cities, and it was a strategic port in the Revolutionary and the Civil War. So you have buildings here that were literally built in the late 1700s. So it is an old city with tons of history and charm. Just goes to show just how many hundreds of years Wilmington has been around. 250 years to be exact, actually. Yeah, you can just like zoom in on that. So one of the bigger tourist attractions here downtown is the USS North Carolina, which is an actual battleship. I think a Virginia class, if I'm not mistaken. It saw active duty in World War II in Japan, took down a bunch of Japanese ships. Another notable history fact, Wilmington and the Cape Fear area was frequented by pirates back in the day, and actually Blackbeard was actually known to stop in here at Wilmington's port, which I think is pretty awesome. So lots of old beautiful churches and architecture, and you're going to see lots of plaques, beautiful live oak with Spanish moss, just a southern charm city. A lot of people don't realize when they look at Wilmington, they think Wilmington is a coastal city and it's all beachy. And while we do have the beach here, Wilmington itself is more of a river southern city than it is a beach, town. A lot of these downtown houses are not necessarily beach homes. So just like any downtown, there's spots that are being renovated and homes that are kind of going through renovations. So there's some blocks that are super nice, some blocks that are kind of on the way up. But what I want to talk about is the historic district overlay. So there is a historic district in town, and I'm standing in front of a house that I sold last year to a client of mine, and you'll notice this house has a plaque on it. If you see a plaque on a home, that is a historic home with the National Historic Registry, which means they have to use period correct materials, paint, you have to have wood frame windows, etc. You have to keep it looking like it did when it was built. Most of these homes, late 1800s, early 1900s. This home specifically is 1903, so super old. And my client turned this into an Airbnb, adding to the amenities here in downtown Wilmington. I had 2 nickels A dime and a quarter got me 9 minutes. Let's see what happens. A nickel, an extra minute. Parking is a nickel a minute here. Let's talk food and drink. I wanted to take you by, this is one of my favorite spots, the Basics. Amazing breakfast, amazing Benedicts, but downtown is kind of the epicenter of the food and drink scene here in Wilmington. All the best restaurants are gonna be down here. I mentioned some of the ones, some of my favorites, Fork and Cork, Hell's Kitchen, Floriana, the Caprice Bistro. I mean, you name it, it's here in downtown Wilmington. There's tons of places to eat. And also, speaking of shopping downtown, not only do you have all these little stores along the way, but this is one of my favorite spots, the Cotton Exchange right here. This actually used to be a warehouse and for the old port of Wilmington to bring supplies through, and it has been converted into a ton of little shops. There's a lot of like local shops and local vendors here. Come check it out. Let's take a look inside. So it's pretty cool. This used to be an old trade port warehouse, and so you have some of the original elements here, the original cobblestone. I mean, the brick that you're seeing here is the actual brick from the late 1700s, and I think that is super cool. So one of the things I love about the Cotton Exchange is you have all these original courtyards in between these buildings. So this is now like common area and common spaces, but look at the architecture and how old these buildings are. I mean, if these buildings could talk, could you imagine the stories that they would tell? There's actually a story about this whole area went up in flames. I think it was in the 1800s at some point, and mostly burned down and has been totally rebuilt. So there's little shops everywhere you look, little nook, little cranny, a local shop, local vendor. So if you really want to get the local downtown shopping experience, stop here at Cotton Exchange. You won't be disappointed. Here, and all these were the original buildings. And there used to be trade and cotton, this Cotton Exchange, moved through this building off of the boats here and onto trains to then ship to other parts of the state. So I think it's pretty cool. And then also in the Cotton Exchange, you have all these little historic spots that kind of tell the story. And you can see some of these old pictures, and I love that. It's super cool. Cotton Exchange, I feel like it gives you like the real local experience, like actual handmade local crafts and smaller vendors and things like that. So super charming, really love it. Definitely recommend if you like vintage and local shops and stuff, stop in the Cotton Exchange while you're in downtown, no doubt. And when you're done walking through the Cotton Exchange, it spits you out right here onto the street again. Another thing I want to talk about is the art culture here in Wilmington. So right down the road is Thalia Hall. Thalia Hall is one of the oldest running active theaters in all of the country. And I think it's super cool because our current government council, our city council, actually meets inside of Thalia Hall. So it's not only a performance venue, but it is also a pivotal part of the decision making here in downtown Wilmington. I particularly find Thalia Hall very fascinating because it's absolutely beautiful and it's been really meticulously maintained. It went through a major renovation recently. It's beautiful inside. At the time that it was built, it was the biggest venue. So a lot of big political movements and notable figures would speak there at Thalia Hall. And I think major decisions about our city were made there, and it still actively has amazing shows to this day. So let's talk about living, actually like buying a home, living, the real estate side. What's it like to live in downtown Wilmington? So I have many clients. I have some clients that love downtown Wilmington. I have some clients that want to avoid downtown Wilmington. Downtown is going to be the biggest concentrated density of people. The amenities you're going to get is you're going to have walkable, bikeable access to a lot of the best amenities in our city and the best restaurants and the things that we've already talked about so far. Over the last year's span, the average single family home that traded in and around Wilmington is about $350,000. That's what you should kind of expect to pay for a home in or around downtown. On the low end, the lowest home that traded was about 100 grand, but that's basically falling in on itself. So you really aren't gonna get a home that you can live in unless you're spending well into the 200s at least. Downtown is kind of block by block. Some blocks will be really, really nice and pretty and pristine. Some blocks you might have people, walking by your doorstep at 10 p.m. at night. You just have to realize that you're downtown. You're in a very populated area. Also downtown, there are a ton of options for condos. If I were living downtown, if I were to buy a property downtown, personally, I think I would buy a condo, and a condo that could be used as like an Airbnb, something to where you can set it up, you can help make some money, but then you can stay in it kind of here and there. Pretty difficult parking. That's one thing you gotta realize if you're buying downtown, be cognizant of parking. There are options to get passes with the city where you can buy like a parking pass, or there are multiple parking garages as well. All right, well, that's really it for our main 101. I tried to be really general. I mean, there's so much more to cover here in downtown Wilmington, but that's just my opinion. If I could wrap it up in a nutshell, downtown Wilmington is a cute, Southern charm, little hustle and bustle, kind of an emerging city that I think has a little bit of something for everyone. And I hope this video at least gave you an idea of what it looks like and feels like from a local's perspective. You know that downtown is kind of the epicenter of history and food and culture here in Wilmington. If you're looking to explore Wilmington, just get an idea of what it's like, or if you're looking to purchase real estate here in Wilmington, obviously that's what I do. And one of the reasons I'm making this video is to hopefully connect with people that do want to buy and sell here in the Wilmington area. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, absolutely destroy the like button and subscribe and all that crap, and watch all my videos. I'll see you at the next video, or I'll see you here at the next Brad Paisley concert, where we can get our face melted off by Brad Paisley going.